Hi, and welcome to Old School Blues Guitar. It is time for the second part of this series on Magic Sam's playing, and I'm trying to figure out some different licks and ideas from Magic Sam. I listened to a lot of his recordings, and I'm just going to share with you the things that I think I figured out. In this lesson, we're going to look at some of his basic rhythm patterns that he used as the foundations for his different songs. And all of these are ideas that you can learn and use to play Magic Sam songs, or if you want to use them to come up with your own songs or instrumentals, things like that. There's a lot of different ideas here that you can use however you want. The most recognizable pattern was this from a song called All Your Love, and this is from the West Side Soul album. And he uses this pattern in a number of songs with variations, Easy Baby and a couple others. So let me show it to you. This will be our first one. This starts in the key of B. So he's playing over the first position B bar chord. Let me just play one time through, one verse through, and then we'll break it down. Into the song where usually he goes to the 4. That's the pattern I'm talking about. And I mixed it up and played some different things. And let me just take you through that. This is a real basic Magic Sam rhythm for slower tunes. So we're in B, and he starts out with that little bass lick starting on the 9th fret of the 5th string, to the 7th fret of the 4th string, to the 9th fret of the 4th string, and then he does this hammer-on pull-off on the between the 7th fret and the 9th fret of the 4th string. And then he's just going to do these 9th chords. So he's just really going from the 9th fret to the 7th fret on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd string. And the emphasis, he starts on the 9th fret. What you should do is listen to All Your Love and Easy Baby and some of these songs and see how he does this. One thing I hear is when he gets ready to go back into that bass run, he does this little scrape over what would be an E9. There's an E9th chord, but he's just playing it with one finger. So really just over the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings. And he kind of scrapes, drags the pick up, while also muting the strings a little bit with his right hand palm. I hear that in a number of his songs, and he does it to a greater or lesser degree in different parts of the song and in different songs. So he does that. And when he gets ready to go to the 4 and All Your Love and some other songs, he's going to do this little single string run. And I'll tab this out for you so you can figure it out, but it's pretty simple. He's just going to go from the 9th fret of the 4th string into a bend on the 9th fret of the 3rd string, climbing to the 7th fret of the 3rd string, 9th fret. And he does some little variation into the, which would be Oh, what would that be? I got to think about it a little bit. E would be an F sharp seventh. Is that right? Yeah. F sharp seventh would be here. Yep, F sharp seventh. So he's going to go to the F sharp seventh, to the E seventh. One thing to get straight right away is if you watch the videos of Magic Sam from the late 60s, he doesn't use a pick. He uses his bare fingers. So a lot of the stuff he does, he can do, and it sounds the way it does because of he's playing with his fingers. I use a pick, just the way I play. You can do it however you want. So that pattern, he gets to the 5 by using this. And sometimes he just plays the chord, but sometimes over the 4 he'll throw in some single string rounds. And get back into that, doing it that way. It just depends on the song and what he's doing. So as far as a rhythm pattern goes, let's play this through all the way one time slowly. I'll play the introduction and I'll go into one verse and see if you can figure out what I'm doing or play along if you've got it down. So there is one of the most recognizable signature rhythm patterns that Magic Sam uses. And I'm sure I didn't play that exactly like Magic Sam, but I've got the ideas in there. One thing I didn't tell you is when he goes to the 4 and he's got the 7th chord, he'll move it down a step and then back in. He'll kind of slide back into that chord. That's something he does quite a bit. He usually does that over the 4. So one more time. Before going back into the 1. So that is from a song called All Your Love, and that is maybe the most recognizable pattern. Now another thing he does in a different song, this is from Easy Baby. It's kind of a similar idea, but I can't tell for sure what he's doing here. Maybe somebody can figure this out. He does this. Where he's doing this. It sounds to me like he's bending on the 7th fret, 9th fret rather, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings. Could also be sliding, but it sounds to me like he's bending. And that's a variation on that first thing that I showed you. So listen to All Your Love and Easy Baby. Those are the 2 tunes where he uses those patterns. The second Magic Sam rhythm pattern that I really like comes from a tune called My Love Will Never Die. And this one, he uses a minor chord. that's a really haunting thing, and he's playing over the top of it. And he's got this really cool little solo thing that he does that I'm going to show you as part of this because he uses chords. So the basic pattern throughout the song is just using these minor chords and shifting them up a step and back into the chord. So if you watch the chord lesson, we went through these. So this is A, the song is an A. There's an A major, just take your second finger out, and there's an A minor. So he's just moving this chord. Goes to the 4, which is a D minor, and this is where I'm taking my second finger on the 6th fret of the 2nd string and my ring finger on the 5th fret of the 4th string, or 7th fret of the 4th string, and my pinky on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. And he's using his first finger to bar. Not sure if that's exactly what he's playing, but it's pretty close. And then when he goes to the 5, he goes to the E minor. I'm sorry, not the E minor, F sharp minor. No, it is an E minor. I got confused from the last song. Sorry. E minor. D minor. So that's a neat kind of pattern if you want to do a minor blues, an instrumental, or make up a song of your own, or play Magic Sam's All Your Love. There you go, it's easy. Now for the introduction and the solo, he does this really cool pattern using a 2nd position minor chord in A. So if this is my 1st position A, this is my 2nd position A minor, or A bar chord, and that means this is an A minor. I've got my 1st finger on the 12th fret of the 1st string, 2nd finger on the 13th fret of the 2nd string, ring finger on the 14th fret of the 3rd string. And he does this where he goes to the A, and he does this little lick in between the chords, or we think he's going 14th fret, 12th fret on the 3rd string to the 14th fret on the 4th string. That's what I think he's done. And he's going to go to the 4, the D minor. Back to the 1 and back to the song. So he introduces the song with that lick, and then there's a solo break in the middle where he plays that. Now he's also throwing in some single string runs in there too, but the basic bare bones rhythm pattern is just those minor chords. So there is a Magic Sam rhythm pattern using minor chords, and that again is from a tune called All Your Love. A third Magic Sam pattern is a basic shuffle pattern. And he's got a number of tunes. I Don't Want No Woman, and I Have the Same Old Blues, Sweet Home Chicago. Those are tunes that use what we call a Chicago shuffle, or a basic shuffle. When he plays this, it depends on the song. In I Don't Want No Woman, he's playing in B. And Sam's playing the lead, and someone else, it sounds like it's playing this shuffle rhythm behind him. I'm not sure who the second guitar player was on this, but he just played something like this. When I listen to these songs is it's really a choppy. Sounds like he's muting what he's doing with his right hand palm quite a bit, and you have like this real percussive muted bass thing going on in the background while Magic Sam is playing his chords and his lead stuff. So for in B, if you don't know these basic rhythms, I'm putting my first finger on the 7th fret on the 1st, 6th, and 5th string, making this power chord shape by putting my ring finger on the 9th fret of the 5th string. That's your basic heavy metal power chord type thing. And then when I hit that, I'm taking my pinky to the 9th, 11th fret of the 5th string. That's going to take some hand strength. If you're new to playing guitar, it might take you a while to build up your hands where you can play that and make the stretches and all that. Now when he goes to the 4 in I Don't Want No Woman, you could play it like this. Just take that power chord and move everything over a string. And that's an E. But what I hear is a more bassy sound, so that means he's coming up down here. And he's got his first finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and he's playing the open 6th string with the 5th string, and then his ring finger is going on the 4th fret of the 5th string. Again, use your right hand palm and rest it very gently on the strings, almost at the bridge. Goes to the 5, you can play it here. It's an F sharp, so I can just play it over the first position F sharp bar chord, or I could play it down or up here. But again, I hear the bassier sound. So that is a typical kind of a Magic Sam shuffle, kind of an easy, real laid back shuffle, while Magic Sam over the top of it is playing. Whoops. Is playing his lead stuff and all that. So listen to I Have the Same Old Blues. He does it in B flat. Sweet Home Chicago, the tune's in E. Most widely known of Sam's songs, but the shuffle rhythm is one that Magic Sam uses for the basis, for the foundation of a number of his songs. Sweet Home Chicago, I Have the Same Old Blues, I Don't Want No Woman. Those are 3 that come to mind. There's others. Now another thing he does in the tune I Have the Same Old Blues is over the shuffle he plays this really cool little chord thing. So let me play this for you. This is in B flat. And he's going to use a B 6th chord. So the song starts out and he's playing. Sam does this, and then into the next verse. So what I'm doing there is a little double stop combined with a 6th chord. So know that chord, and then we're playing this, which is a very typical electric blues type lick. I'm starting on the 8th fret of the 4th string, and then I've got my first finger on the 6th fret, 2nd and 3rd string. And then I'm taking my 2nd finger and hammering on to the 7th fret of the 3rd string while also getting the 2nd string, which is still fretted. Keep that first finger there. 2 strings. It's not like that. You're getting both strings. And then I'm just going to flatten out my ring finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd and 3rd string. So the first part of that little lick. And then he throws in very quickly that B or B flat 6. And he does it twice. So if you listen to I Have the Same Old Blues, this is the lick he plays. So one more time. Then he goes into the 4, which is going to be the the 7th here. And all over that or under that, you got the so on. So that's a really cool Magic Sam shuffle. I have the Same Old Blues. He plays that really neat little, almost like a horn part as he sings the song. That's the next rhythm pattern. And let's move on to number 4. Now we're going to get into some chord patterns. We'll do a couple of these before we do some single strike stuff and wrap it up. So one of the first Magic Sam songs I learned, and one of my favorites still, it's called You Belong to Me. And in this tune he uses this really cool just 7th chord riff, very funky, very simple. Let me play it. The opening song starts from the 5 to the 4 and then into the song. It goes something like this. I kind of abbreviated it there to get to the point. Really simple pattern, and it's if you've ever heard the song Tramp by Lowell Fulson, it's kind of got that tramp lick in it, using a C7 shape as a D7. So if we play that, we've got my ring finger on the 5th fret of the 5th string. If you don't know this chord and didn't watch the first lesson in this series on the chords of Magic Sam, make sure you know this shape. So he's doing this. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm using my right hand palm and muting it at the bridge. So that's the rhythm pattern. And he chops it, does it a little differently each time. And the bass, just walking from the 5th fret of the 6th string, 3rd fret, 5th fret of the 5th string. And then when he goes to the 4, does something like that. So that's a G7th, where I've got my 1st finger barring at the 3rd fret, like that. Then when he goes to the 5, like in the introduction, A7. So the introduction to the song is just, you can change the accentuation, do whatever you want with that. But that's from You Belong to Me, just kind of a 7th chord groove. And if you listen to that song, he stays on the 1, quite a bit. Then he goes to the 4, 5, and the 5, 4, and the 1. So there's another kind of a cool Magic Sam type rhythm pattern. Another one from a tune called What Have I Done Wrong, or Baby What Have I Done Wrong. This is in the key of G. This is kind of a strange one. Is that the right? I get some of these songs mixed up all the time. And he uses this kind of a 9th chord pattern. And he plays that over the 1, over the 4, even though it's really in the 4. What I hear is this little bass intro, just like we did on was it All Your Love? No, it was My Love. All Your Love, Easy Baby, the first couple songs we did. I get these all mixed up. So it's, this is just a ninth kind of shape, and it sounds like he's just keeping his first finger on the first three strings from the 6th, 5th to the 3rd frets. You can use your pinky and use 3 different fingers, or you can use your ring finger, 2nd finger, 1st finger, however you want to do it. You can just use 1 finger to do that. So it's, and then when he gets to the 5, it's, one more time. So that kind of combines this minor 6, whatever you want to call it, 9th chord lick with those 7th chords. That's just a C, or what is this, C7, D7, C7, back to the G. And that's, he only does that in one tune, and that's called You Don't Love Me Baby, right? Or What Have I Done Wrong? What have I done wrong? I get those confused. Okay, another Magic Sam rhythm idea. This comes from an instrumental tune called Backstroke, which I heard on a live album. I think it's Magic Sam live in Chicago, Burning in Chicago, something like that. And this has always been one of my favorites, especially when I was first learning electric guitar, because I thought this was something I could play. And I'm just doing this one kind of off the top of my head. And he does kind of this choppy pattern in a D. So think of the same chords we used for You Belong to Me just a minute ago. Just keeps going, and over the top of it he's playing this really cool instrumental called Backstroke. So again, there's another pattern with the 7th chord. And he's getting the bass, which is the D on the 5th fret of the 5th string. So that's that C7th shaped D7. Goes to the 4 again, the G7, A7, kind of a neat pattern. I like it, and you could make a song up over that, or you could play a really cool instrumental like his Backstroke. Listen to that, it's the first cut. I think it's called Burning Wild in Chicago, or Wild in Chicago. I have it somewhere, but that's a cool tune. Another kind of cool rhythm pattern. This comes from a Magic Sam tune called You Don't Love Me Baby. And he does this little bass run in combination with his 7th chords. Let me play it for you one time, and then we'll break it down. song pretty much goes on like that. I stumbled in a couple places because I have to try to keep it separate from the Junior Wells Buddy Guy version, where Buddy Guy plays that same riff a little bit differently. So he's playing, this one is in B flat, and he's starting out with this little bass run. So I'm starting on the 6th fret of the 5th string to the 8th fret to the 6th fret of the 4th string back to the 8th fret of the 5th string. And that's, so he's playing it like that. And again, he's muting the strings with his right hand palm. Like that. Then he goes 6th fret, 4th string, 8th fret of the 5th string. And then twice on the 4th fret of the 5th string to the 6th fret. Back to the 4th fret of the 5th string to the 6th fret of the 6th string, which is our 1. So one more time. I'm hearing this twice, like that. You can listen to it and see what you think. So the basic single string bass rhythm pattern. And then he goes to the 4. Just going from the 6, 8 on the 5th string, and then 6, 8, 6 on the 4th string. And then he wraps his thumb, at least I think he does, to play this 7th. And when he does this little riff like that. I'm not sure exactly what he's playing on that. Sounds to me like he's going 6 to 8 to 6, 6, 8 on the 3rd string to the 6th fret. Something like that. Maybe he's playing something different. But he plays this. Then he goes to the 5 with the 7th chord, F7. Back to the 7th here, which is an E flat 7. Is that right? What is that? That chord, that is going to be D flat 7. D flat 7. So it's like that. So that's kind of a cool idea, to play that bass rhythm and then mix in the chords. That's another one of my favorite Magic Sam patterns. Whew. One more. Then the last example that I have here. I lost track of the numbers. I shouldn't do that, but I lost track. I'll have them on the tab for you. This is from a song called Look What You Done. And when I listen to the recording, I hear it in E flat, played all the way up here on the neck. And he does this double stop rhythm thing over the 1, and then he goes into the 7th chords for the 5 and the 4th, just like he's been doing on a lot of his songs. That seems to be a formula that he used quite a bit. So when he's singing over the 1, he does this kind of riff like this. And I'm not sure exactly what he's doing. I'll tab it out, but it's something like that. idea of the double stop. And when he does this, he's bending mostly the second and third strings, but it sounds like he's also getting that first string in there. So I've got my first finger anchored on the 11th fret, first, second, and third string. And then I've got my ring finger going to the 13th fret. And I'm picking down, getting mostly the second and third strings with a little bit of the first string in there. He does something like that, where he comes down on that last beat. Let me do that over again. I gotta hear it. And the last example of a Magic Sam rhythm pattern, it comes from a tune called Look What You Done. And this one is in the key of E flat. At least that's how it comes out when I listen to it with standard tuning. And he does a double stop, kind of a double stop bending pattern over the 1, and then the 5 and the 4 uses his same basic 7th chords. Let me play it for you one time. This is what he's playing behind the verses. Something pretty close to that. What I'm doing is just bending mostly the second and third strings between the 11th and 13th fret, but I'm also getting the first string in there. So I've got my first finger over the first, second, and third strings, and I'm picking down to get the third and the second string first, but also making sure I get that first string in. And I'm just bending all three, mostly the second and third string, but I'm catching the first string as well. So that's the first part. They're going from the 11th fret, second and third strings, to the 13th fret of the 4th string. That's the first part of the lick. Something like that. This would be my oh, would that be a G sharp 7? Or an A flat 7? It'd be an A flat 7. So B flat 7. Into that lick. Look What You Done is the name of that song. You can listen to that, and I've got the tab for you and figure it out. So there is a pretty good sampling of rhythm patterns that Magic Sam uses as the foundations of his songs. And all of those are rhythm patterns that you could use in a million different ways for your own songs, or if you're covering a Magic Sam song, you can play those, or even do instrumentals. You get a really cool groove going with those, and then play whatever instruments over the top of it. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Hopefully it's helpful. And in the next part, we're going to go into the lead playing, Magic Sam's lead playing over the first position, second position blues box, and then we'll wrap this all up by looking at his double stops and some of his really cool kind of licks. If you have any questions or comments, let me know, and I'll be back with the next lesson real fast.